Hi, welcome to the Practice Sports Coaching's YouTube channel. The presentation you're about to watch actually took place live at one of our sessions. So can I use this opportunity to invite you to come and join us? We meet every Tuesday and the details are on the screen. If you like this kind of content, can I encourage you to please hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell? That way you'll get notified whenever we release any new content. Let me not take too much of your time. Enjoy today's presentation, and I look forward to seeing you soon. So I thought it would be useful this week to start 2022 talking about habits and routines. If you're anything like me, you will have certain things you do consciously or unconsciously that affects you as a person, how you work, and the things you do. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about habits and routines. And I thought this would be a great thing to kind of kick off our year so that we can develop the right habits and attitudes for 2022. If I can get my thing to work on. So habits, what are habits and routines? They can simply be described as actions, tendencies, things that you do, but more on a consistent and regular basis. It's almost like it's part of your routine. It's part of who you are. I've got some people who are not muted. If you don't mind, can you please mute your mic? I'm just getting some background noises. Thank you. So habits and routines can be described as the actions and tendencies and practices that you do on a consistent and regular basis. They're part of you, and most of the time you don't really recognize it as necessarily a habit. It's just things that you do. I've got my own habits. I generally, I was talking to someone the other day, and I say I generally don't like just lying in bed. I like to be tired so that when I get on my bed, boom, I'm asleep within 5 minutes. If I am not asleep within 5 minutes, the likelihood is I won't get to sleep till much later in the night. When I work, I like noise around me. I like the TV on. I don't necessarily need to be watching it, but I just like the idea of having noise around me when I work. I don't like working in a quiet space. So those are a little bit of my habits, things that I do on a consistent basis, and habits have a strong influence on how you show up, how you perform, how you relate with others, your health and well-being, your lifestyle. And habits actually play a crucial role in your ability to achieve goals. Sometimes when you're working with a client and you want to effect a change, you want to help them achieve a change, one of the things you're going to look out for is what kind of habits do they have. I know as a business coach, when clients would often tell me that they don't have enough time in the world to do all the things they need to do, I would tell me to talk me through a typical day in their week. Because what I'm trying to look for is I'm trying to look for the things that they formed as a habit that is actually either burning their time or not allowing them to be as efficient or effective as they would like to be. So sorry, my mouse is a bit slow. So developing the right habits and routine can play a huge role in determining the level of success you achieve in 2022. I think it will be a superb read if you can go just Google habits or routines of successful people. I think I was reading one the other day, habits of billionaires, the things that they typically do that makes them the kind of person that they want to be. So today, I just want to quickly look at habits and routine. This is not a psychological presentation. It's just an overview of this very important subject matter. So what are habits? Habits are a settled or regular tendency or practices. And what that simply means is these are things that you would often do, not necessarily consciously. They're just the way you do things. I make my coffee in a particular way. And if I don't make my coffee in that particular way, it never tastes the same. And I know that is just a mental thing, but it's just my habit. There's just a way I do it. I put a set of amount of coffee in, a set amount of sugar and milk in. And if somebody does it for me, even though they use the same brand of coffee, it just doesn't taste the way, because there's a particular way I like for things to be done. Okay, so they happen with little or no conscious thought. It's not something you put a lot of effort in. It's part of who you are. And they're often developed over time. And the reason why they developed over time is because it almost like forms a memory, in your mind, in your brain, that gives you a sense of pleasure or satisfaction. So you constantly want to repeat that action. I like the TV in the background. For some people, that's quite disruptive and distracting. But for me, just the fact of hearing people in the background gives me a lot of, I don't feel alone working by myself. It's more impulse driven. Not doing it makes you feel like a fish out of water. When you don't do something, I remember, what was it? I remember one day I had my previous TV. One day I put it on and there was a spark, and that was it. And the TV didn't come on that day. And I thought, oh my goodness, it disrupted my entire day. I could not work. I had to go grab the TV in the bedroom to put it in my office so that I can actually work like normal. So it's impulse driven. If you don't do it, you feel like a fish out of water. It can have positive or negative impact on your ability to achieve your goals. Some habits are good, some habits are not so good. And you could be doing things that actually affect your ability to achieve goals. Habits often require the right set of circumstances for it to occur. And that's so important. I think I was reading something about people who smoke, and sometimes it's like when you see other people smoke or you smell cigarette, sometimes it triggers something in you, and you then are drawn to that particular habit. What are some examples of I'm looking at habits from a business perspective, some but not so great habits to have. Things like poor time management, being disorganized, negative self-talking, staying up late, multitasking, procrastination. Those are some of the habits, and I'm going to talk a little bit more in a second about them. About some of the habits and routines we should form. Let's look at routines. A dictionary definition of a routine is a series of things that you do in a particular way and or time. One thing is, the thing with a routine is it requires a higher degree of concentration, effort, and intention. And everybody should have a routine. Routines are good to be efficient. You shouldn't be bound by routine, but you should have certain things you do in a particular way or at a particular time to give you the consistency you will require for 2022. And routines are behaviors that are often repeated. So these are things you do every single day. I have a routine when I wake up. When I get up in the morning, I'm a man of prayer, so I like to spend some time praying. I get on my exercise bike. I spend about 30 minutes on my exercise bike. I have a shower, grab a coffee, and I'm on my desk before 9 a.m. That is my routine. And I find that any day I don't keep to my routine, I feel disjointed. I feel like I'm out of shape. So, routines can actually help you to be more efficient in what you do. Unlike habits, you don't feel emotionally uneasy when you don't do it. With a habit, if you don't do it, you feel like, ooh. But with routine, it's not about if I miss it one day, and I was saying, a few seconds ago, I can feel a bit funny, but if I miss it one day, I know by tomorrow I'm going to be back on track again. Goals. The goal is often to turn possible positively impact routines into habits. So what you want to be able to do is get to a point with your routines that they become like habits. That means they're not something you put a lot of effort in. They're just things that happen naturally with little effort. Um, Developing a consistent routine does initially take a lot of work and effort, because everything, I remember when I wanted to start going on my bike, my goodness, it was just not a great thing. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. It was a lot of sweat. It was a lot of effort. But the more I began to do it, then it became more natural. Even when I was doing it this morning, it didn't even feel like I was exercising. It just felt so natural. Routines require motivation. You've got to have a reason as to why you are doing what you're doing. And sometimes they're contrary to what you want to do. And that's so important. Examples of good routine: wake up early, have a consistent time in which you wake up. If today you wake up at 8 o'clock, tomorrow you wake up at 6, next day you wake up at 10, you find that you're struggling to gain your momentum and actually, achieve a lot in your day. Plan your day before you start. Journal, set limits, have time for reflection, get a hobby, and do some exercise. So I'm just going to finish off with this. These are some of the habits I discovered from successful people. Number one, in most of the people I've read about that have habits and routine, one of the things they tend to do is they tend to exercise often first thing in the morning. Some do it late in the evenings, but often a lot of people tend to do it first thing in the morning. It's sort of like kind of clears your mind. I know for me, it just sort of like energizes me. I don't know. I've never been an exercise kind of person, but since I started exercising, I suddenly have this, ready to go mentality after spending I only do half an hour, sometimes 40 minutes a day on my exercise bike. So successful people like to exercise. They also like to have a list of things they need to do, a list of things that will ensure that they make the most out of their day. They also tend to prioritize. They tend to put the things that are most important rather than the thing that requires the intention urgently. So the focus tends to be on things that are most important. One of the things that burns a lot of time is emails and social media. Successful people, will limit how much time they actually spend, on going through their emails. I remember somebody telling me once that, if somebody sends you an email and if it's absolutely important, they'll pick up the phone and ring you. If it can wait, then it can wait. And I myself, this is an area I'm trying to just manage myself on, because I spend quite a bit of time on emails because that's how I mainly communicate with people. Successful people also spend time learning. I think this is so important, especially for new entrepreneurs. Allocate time to learn. It's important for you to learn and to grow. And also, they spend time connecting with others. If you're a solo entrepreneur, one of the worst things you can do is keep yourself isolated. You've got to figure out how to connect with other people and devote time in your day to make sure you're talking and connecting with other people. They also always tend to refer back to their plan. They want to make sure that they're on track. These are some of the useful habits and routines of successful people. And finally, they have good quality sleep. If you're not sleeping well, it will affect your ability to be alert, to have the clarity, to be recharged, for the day that is ahead of you. So that's me. 3 questions I'd like us to ask today. What habits or routines negatively impacted you in 2021? So what did you do last year that you feel kind of had a negative impact on you and didn't help you achieve your goals? Second question, what new habits or routine would you like to adopt for 2022 and why? And finally, what will be your biggest challenge in adopting the new changes?